What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new Warframe video, coming at you with the Paris. Not just any Paris, but the Paris Prime with an Incarnon Adaptor. As you can see, the evolutions right there, yes. If you have not seen, I have just recently released the Lato Incarnon video. Do go check that out. I explain how to get Incarnon weapons, etc, etc. And of course, here we are at Cavallero. Let's go through the Paris Incarnon Adaptor evolutions. Of course, the first one is activating Incarnon Mode, the usual. Evolution 2, we have 2 slots. The first one gives you 20 damage without overshields, but once you get overshields, it goes up to 74. Pretty decent, but we don't need that, right? We can do enough damage as is. And this is the one that I went for. Increase damage, but also gain 80% fire rate if you have 1.2 or higher sprint speed. There's a fair amount of Warframes that have this type of sprint speed, but you can also mod for this. So free money. Why not? Moving on to Evolution 3, where we have 3 different upgrades. From the left, we have Unpunched Through increased fire rate. We already have some fire rate. We don't really need this, but this is also really a good one to have because this weapon can get a decent amount of punch through. As you can see right there, 3. Second one, Marksman Focus, negative zoom. We don't need that. And finally, projectile flight speed. Ooh, this is actually a boon to our damage as well. It travels faster, and pair that up with punch through, we're going to be hitting a lot. And then finally, the last one. From the left, increase crit chance on undamaged enemies and crit damage on undamaged enemies. This sounds good, but you gotta read it carefully. You may think, oh, it must be the initial hit on the target from the weapon. But no, this actually is affected by every single damage that you deal, even passive damage. For example, if you're a Wisp and you got your shock modes, this buff is removed.
Try it.
Aha, there we go. That worked. Yeah. So I damaged it, he got the red crit. Okay, now let us try it this way. Let me get closer to them with the shock mode. Alright, they're all got damaged. So it's damage from all sources. Okay. That's unfortunate. So unfortunately, this is dookie. Don't use it. And of course here, increased status chance. We don't need that. But this is what we need. Increased damage by 15 for 3 seconds, stacks up to 4 times. Hit a bunch of enemies. This also takes into account multi-shot and bunch of enemies hits. So crazy damage boost right there. Okay, here we are in the simulacrum. Just like the Lato Incarnon, we also have a gauge right underneath the reticle, similar to all Incarnon weapons. If you shoot the body, you don't get any charge. Hit the head, you build up those stacks. There you go, fully charged. But now, unlike the Lato or any other ones, this is quite familiar to a weapon that you've gotten for free. Once you shoot it, you already know. Wait, isn't that just the NATARUK, but without any perfect shot mechanics? Why? You're absolutely right. You don't have to worry about any of the perfect shot mechanics. As long as you have the Incarnon Mode, go to town. Get those headshots and clear out the massive row of enemies. And what makes it even better, this weapon already has punch through, and its Incarnon Mode also gives you body punch through. We have like 5-meter punch through. There we go, we hit the enemy. Pretty good. But shoot it down this line. Boom. This guy got damage as well. Oh, this guy also got damage. Nice. And the Paris Incarnon is a no-brainer weapon. All you have to do is shoot heads, get the buff, activate it, and dink donk, everything dies. Before we go to the builds, there's something that you should know. Shooting this weapon right now, you can see we're getting puncture, hunter munitions, and sometimes our modded elements. Okay? However, when we activate our Incarnon Mode, we have heat damage now. This is guaranteed heat, meaning if you mod a singular element, it will combine with that heat. So it's going to be easy to make gas, or you can even have fun with viral heat, corrosive heat, or just a pure heat build. With that in mind, let's take a look at the build. The first one is your basic viral hunter munitions. Base damage coming from Merciless. This gives me reload speed and base damage. Faction mod, cater it to what you're fighting up against. And in this case, Corrupted. Our multi-shot mod is Split Flights. This gives us way more multi-shots. On hit, get 100% multi-shot and stacks up to 4 times. Very nice. Very useful for bows. Prime Shred is going to give us fire rate and increase our punch through even more. Crit chance with critical delay, crit damage. The usual. Viral with our elemental mods, and finally hunter munitions. So the go-to. This is the basic build. We're going to scroll down right now. We're going to see our quick shot. As you can see, the base damage is quite low, but however the crit chance and status chance are the same. But then the charge shot, we get an increase in base damage. That's also pretty cool. When we activate our Incarnon mode, we get another stat of punch through. And we can see we have 20 charges. Now, the Incarnon mode does have a lower charge speed. Compare it to the regular version and the Incarnon mode. This charge speed is completely different. So if you don't have fire rate or any fire rate boosters, you're going to be spending a long time drawing that one shot. Alright, for the Warframes that have sprint speed under 1.2, this is how it looks like when you don't have sprint speed. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. And that was also showcased without fire rate and a sprint speed under 1.2, as you can see right there. Okay, with fire rate and low sprint speed, the bow still feels quite slow. So if you're playing a Warframe that can't move faster than a snail, I suggest you equip a sprint speed mod or just change the evolution to something else. Because good God, that is slow. Also, for those who are wondering, is the Incarnon form of the Paris Prime silent? Nope, not at all. When you go into the Incarnon form, it is surprisingly alarming. So good luck to those Ivara mains. Well, you gotta slot in a silencer mod on your bow. And you may have noticed we also have an increase in base damage and critical chance and critical damage. And not to mention, we do lose puncture and slash, and we gain heat. If we now were to go to the gas build, you will see with one elemental mod right here, infected clip, we do get gas. And the simple change we did in gas was to remove hunter munitions and the other element in favor of galvanized amplitude for even more damage and bladed rounds for even more critical damage, multiplying all of the damage we're going to be dealing. And instead of merciless, I'm using deadhead, because gas is an instantaneous AoE that is able to trigger this arcane, unlike slash, heat, and toxin. And this also gives you a headshot damage multiplier for even more damage. This build is also similar to the corrosive build, because we're also using deadhead, but instead of galvanized aptitude, we switched it out for an elemental mod. And finally, onto the heat build, where I increased my heat damage by adding the Hellfire mod, and this also looks similar to the gas build as it does have one elemental mod and galvanized aptitude. Very similar. In this case, I'm using primary dexterity. Basically, melee kills give you the base damage multiplier. But for your go-to build, you'll probably be using the viral hunter munitions or the corrosive build, because these two are the basic and deadly ones and don't require extra setup. It was quick, short, and straight to the point, and hopefully you get to have fun with this weapon, especially for those who got it. I know some were regretting their choices. If you want to know what's coming up next, DE did release a list of weapons that are coming out within each week. On reset, we will be getting the bow, Lantron, Furax, and Strun. I'm definitely going to be going for that bow and Strun, because I want to see what kind of damage you're going to be doing with a new Incarnon melee and a new Incarnon shotgun. So stay tuned for those. Anyway, that has been it for me. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.